last time, I can feel that power in my hands. Beat of the drums rushing through my skin.
The Eagles are fighting for playoff survival.
Well, if the Eagles are going to make a push, it has to happen now.
The Riders are fighting for the league title.
All of the BBL teams have been chasing this Leicester Riders team all year.
And they could be crowned champions tonight.
Gordon with the spin and the jam.
Wow. Both of these teams like to score the ball down.
Fletcher, top of the key, knocks it down.
This game is always about momentum.
Whelan, past his man, lays it in. Johnson all string for three. Leicester with all the momentum right now. Jackson drives hard, scores and one for Zach Jackson and Leicester.
We're live from the Virtue Motors Arena in Newcastle, where the Eagles host the Leicester Riders. It's a matchup between the two most successful teams in league history, and one with huge implications at both ends of the table. Very good evening to you. Packed house here in Newcastle, and what a night this could be for both teams. Great to see Drew Lasker and Kieran Achara, particularly you, Kieran, given the news that broke this morning. We expected you to be out on the court. What's all this about?
I'm actually heartbroken. I went out, did a couple of shots, warm-ups. They saw me miss every single shot and cut my contract, so I'm getting my lawyers.
The shortest contract in BBL history. Loving the April Fools. Of course, you're right in the thick of that. Did that get you thinking, Drew Lasker, given the way that Newcastle season has gone? Would you rather be out there right now helping them, or are you happier on this side of the line?
Ooh, absolutely not. I mean, there is 1% of me that would love to be out there with my guy, Ramon Fletcher and Darius Defoe, but I like going home on Friday nights feeling healthy and not hurt.
Just 1%, come on. Newcastle, well, they're in real trouble. They could be missing out on the playoffs. Leicester could win the title tonight. The only team that stands in their way, mathematically anyway, is London. And London and the Eagles met on Wednesday night in the capital. The big news going into this game was the second head coaching change in the same season for the Lions. James Veer, who replaced Vince McCauley earlier on in the year, announcing that he was stepping away for personal reasons. Didn't affect the Lions. Comfortable win for them. 20 points and 8 assists for Isaiah Reese, Lorenzo Cagini, and Kyler Kelly having big games for the Lions too. So that win maintains their title aspirations, but only just, because the Riders have a huge lead at the top of the championship, having lost just 2 games all season long. It's simple enough. If the Lions lose tonight in their game against the Bristol Flyers and Leicester beat the Eagles, well, it is league title number 6 for Rob Paternostro. That title's going to come with 2 more wins anyway for the Riders, irrespective of what London do. Further down the table, when it is condensed, and it is a real battle to make the playoff positions, with only Surrey seemingly out of contention. Glasgow and Newcastle neck and neck. It is going right down to the wire. So outside of our game and that London-Bristol matchup tonight, Glasgow are in action as well. They host Surrey. Sheffield play Plymouth. Bristol, well, they're in that playoff mix as well. They welcome Manchester tomorrow. On Sunday, the Rocks are back in action against the newly crowned trophy winners, the Phoenix. The Lions play the Shark on Sunday, which means, of course, our very own Mike Tuck could play spoiler and do Leicester a real favour there as well. So as we've just seen, Kieran, most teams bunched together in the table this season. So how have Leicester been able to be so dominant?
Yeah, I think they've been able to be consistent at both ends of the court, no matter what. So a lot of teams have been battling injury, like any team in this league. But when Leicester Riders have a few injuries, they still find a way to produce. And other teams just have not been able to step up like that.
Do you have them as favourites for the playoffs?
Well, you know, the 10 hours I spent under contract, I learned a lot about their culture. And I do believe that they are the favourites, but there's a whole different sense of pressure in those playoff mix. You know, Gino never got to win last year. You know, they went on and won the league, didn't win the playoffs. I think there's an added sense of pressure. but they are definitely favourites in my eyes.
Now, Drew, not to take anything away from Leicester's season, because they've been in brilliant form consistently all season long, but London looked like they were going to run them close for a long time. They seem to be imploding in front of our very eyes. Will we look at this now with the benefit of 2020 hindsight and consider that coaching change from Vince McCauley mid-season to be a big mistake?
Well, I'm playing Monday morning quarterback now, but I said at the time it wasn't the right decision because it wasn't based on performance. Obviously, it was some stuff behind the scenes that we don't know about, but you got to look past that, and I thought he should have gone out on a big high, and now it's biting the London Lions in the bum.
Drew, it's hard to believe that the Eagles are finding themselves in this position, scrapping for a playoff spot. How would you describe their season in one word?
Well, there's a lot of interesting words in Webster's dictionary, but I'm going to go with debacle. And if you don't know what that means, go look that up. It means not very good.
Why have Newcastle, a team that are perennial contenders, Kieran, been struggling by their high standards so significantly this year? What's been going wrong?
Well, I talk about the Leicester Riders being very consistent at both ends. I do not understand what the Eagles' identity is at this moment in time. One day they're playing really well offensively, next thing, but defensively they've really struggled. Even when they said, that was their issue defensively, they were averaging, giving up 85 points a game in December. They're now giving up 91. They haven't improved that stat, and I think overall that's been their demise.
Is there a danger, though, because it's so condensed, we can overstate this a bit, because we love a big narrative, of course we're going to hype that up, but a couple of wins, suddenly Newcastle find themselves with a kind of mid-card seed in the playoffs, and we all know what this side is capable of, right?
And I said that last year, I will never count Newcastle Eagles out until they are out, especially big-time players like Fletcher. In a situation when he needs to win, I think he still has what it takes to find a way.
But it could go the other way. By the end of the night, the Eagles could be out of the playoff picture. Your Glasgow Rocks could be back in the playoff picture. So I'm going to ask you again, which of those teams isn't going to make the cut?
I've said it from the start. The Glasgow Rocks are going to make the playoffs. That weekend they had last weekend, it didn't seem possible. They listened to me. They actually called me out on it. But they are right back in the mix, and I believe they're going to find a way now. Drew,
I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to have a think about your answer to the question of the Eagles making the playoffs, because I'm in a generous mood. Let's take a look at the head-to-head between these two teams. The Eagles and the Riders have met twice in the league already, both down in Leicester before Christmas, both games on Sky Sports, of course. Leicester were in fine battle both of these matches, 100 points and counting. And, of course, as a result, doing the double. So defensively for the Eagles, what confidence do you have, Drew, that they can limit the Riders' offense tonight, given what went down in those two games?
I mean, not very much if you look at it. I mean, Kieran and I have been painting a narrative about them needing to play defense all year. But the issue isn't them giving up 91 points. It's them not scoring 92.
And one of the issues there, which is going to make that task offensively even harder, is the absence of Wes Person tonight. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so Wes is obviously out with pneumonia. His return is unknown at this point. And a team that's been struggling to score, you now lose 15 points a game, and the precision behind the three-point line, which Wes brings.
They got some big names in the camp out on court tonight, nevertheless, and they're going to have to be relying on two of them down the stretch, including the two-time league MVP, Ramon Fletcher, their talisman, who is now in his 7th season with the Eagles. And he's built a strong relationship, not only with the club, but in particular with his head coach, Ian McLeod.
When I first met Ian, I was 25 years old, and he's not that much older than me, and he really didn't have the biggest role as far as assistant coach. But people that know basketball, you have 3 assistant coaches. It's always that one coach that's similar to age with you, that you can talk to them on a different level than a professional level. And that's something that he got from me and D. We had a personal relationship before he was my coach, and that's something that we still have to this day.
I remember the first time I ever saw Ramon on video, and we were going through the recruitment stage, and I said, he can't go right. That was a big thing. He can't use his right hand. I'm not so sure about this guy. And then we watched a bit more video and thought he's pretty good going left, though, isn't he?
It's Fletcher in full flight, driving hard.
Our own core conversation is really, really detailed. The practice conversation that we have is in detail. And over the weekend, he knows that I'm watching BBL games, and he is too. And
the great thing about my and Fletcher relationship is we see it from 2 different ways. He sees it from the inside, I see it from the outside. If we sit down and come to one conclusion, and we've only got one voice and one opinion, we need those 2 different perspectives And so we do a lot on our own, but it's just about the constant communication, really. We can't spend in basketball 10 seconds talking about something. It needs to be 3 words.
Keep moving, keep the dominoes, okay? Together, 1, 2, 3.
Now, that isn't built on a day, that isn't built in a season, but understanding each other, the efficiency of that communication is huge, and that starts from the everyday, the minute-to-minute stuff.
The second leg of our semifinal last year in the playoffs, we had to make a quick adjustment of how Leicester was guarding us. But it was a conversation that we had of how they were guarding our ball screen and how we can make an adjustment to attack them big. And I just said in, and when I said in, he brought it in and he said exactly what I was thinking.
What I don't want players to do is to turn to the bench and say, Coach, what should we do? Have that conversation yourself. And as long as they commit to what they said they'll do, I'll back them. We might change it later on, but in the moment, commit to what you've decided, make a decision. I'll back it, and if we need to change, we'll have another conversation.
I don't think we ever have disagreements where it's like, no, and I want to do it this way, or no, Fletch, we go do it this way. I don't care what you're saying. Because we have that time and we have that experience with each other that if he says something, I 100% trust what he says. And if I say something, he 100% trusts that as well.
Now, the last time we were in Newcastle, the fans booed the team off the court. It was so unusual to witness that. Drew, you spent many years here. You were shocked to see that, if not surprised given the performance. I guess it's unusual for Coach Mack as well because he's had an incredibly successful start to his career as a head coach. So how much are we going to learn about him over the next few weeks?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you learn what a man is through adversity, and this is the time. If we think about his career thus far, it's been all glory, right? So now you're struggling. So how can you motivate these guys to turn this thing around?
Kieran, do you think he's on the hot seat? Do you think his job is in jeopardy?
That's a great question. He has to be. I think Newcastle Eagles, they hold their team to a high standard. There's always pressure when you're playing in a team like Newcastle Eagles. You're expected to win. So winning's not happening for them at this moment in time. It definitely has to be the case.
He's got some big-name players in this locker room, and we saw his connection with Ramon Fletcher, one of the greats, of course. And what Fletcher was saying about his connection with Coach Mack was particularly interesting, I thought, Drew, in terms of the connection because of the close proximity in age. Is that increasingly important in pro basketball now, that personal connection? A lot of the ways that a player and a coach can find a link up just because of similar interests and shared sensibility.
Yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily age. I would say what you have in common, because at the pro level, it's about management. It's about player-coach relationship, and you have to feel comfortable to go in his office and have those great conversations along with the tough ones.
Darius Defoe's had a hell of a week, hitting 6,000 career points in that game against London. What a landmark that is. In the top 10 all-time scorers in the BBL. What a player he is, Drew.
Unbelievably amazing. He came into the league at 18 years old as a raw, athletic guy. 18 years later, not only is he top 10, he's the only player on Newcastle Eagles that has a positive plus-minus. So that just goes to show what type of player he is.
Justin Gordon, another key player for them, particularly last season. He left the club, returned midway through this season. Kieran, has he picked up where he left off?
I believe he has. I think he's still consistent scoring. He still makes big-time plays. It's just not been enough thus far.
Yeah, Fletcher, Defoe, Gordon, it's hard to believe, given the talent that's roster, they're in this spot. And let's not write them off too prematurely, because they're still very much in the mix, and a win tonight will go a long way to filling them with confidence to roll into the playoffs. But next up, we're going to hear from some of the Riders camp, including two players who may not start every game, but are proving integral to their title-challenging campaign.
First thing I do when I wake up is chug a bunch of water, take some deep breaths, probably follow it with some coffee.
Probably take my son off my head because he's usually crawling all over it.
The Riders have been in the title frame all season long, and as London have faltered and other sides have failed to put a run together, expectation has been heightening for weeks. Coach Rob Paternoster will tell you that he is taking it each game at a time, and there's no talk in the locker room of title. But Kieran, we're not totally buying that, are we?
Again, I've got the inside scoop on this. No, there's no way. They understand what they have to do. I think their mind is still on the playoffs. Like for every basketball player, they want to win the playoffs. The championship is nice, but the playoff is something they will have their eye on and be thinking about.
If they take care of the Eagles tonight and London lose, then they win the title. So is there going to be discussion on the bench, monitoring of that London-Bristol game as this game is going on, Drew?
Well, if you listen to Rob, no, but I've been in this situation before, and it'll be that manager at the end of the bench talking to that last guy, giving him score updates throughout the game.
And London, if they want to keep any fake title hopes going, they've got to win tonight, and their chances have been buoyed by news that a big player coming back for them, Kieran.
Which is frightening. Washburn is now back. That's a miraculous decision. Gets dropped from a team, sent home, now he's back. It just shows you how disjointed the organisation is at this moment in time.
Leicester, we saw the roster running across the screen there, deep, maybe the deepest in the whole of the BBL right now, dominating domestically. Is Europe the logical next step for them?
It's got to be. I mean, it has to be on the table. I think Gino Crandell mentioned it earlier in the year. That was a reason why he came back. So they've proven that they're the best team here, not only on the court, but behind the scenes as an organization, which is important if you're trying to play in Europe.
A key factor in the Riders' success this season has been the strength of their roster, and in particular the strength of their bench as they interchange. We turn the spotlight on two of their dynamic supporting cast.
My name's Connor Washington.
Kimmel McKenzie.
I play point guard position.
Guard, Leicester Riders.
Alright.
Give me a countdown.
Oh, dude.
I don't know. Can you tell what that is? That is the green, and that is the hole, and that is a golf ball on the way to the hole. Just kind of a hobby of mine, a passion that I've developed, and something I like to do.
You want to see? So there's me, my little afro puff hair, my daughter, my son, and my partner with another baby in her belly. Since my family have come along, they've kind of changed everything. So they represent a lot of what I do and why I play basketball the way I do now.
I would summarize my game as playmaking, scrappy, and smart.
McKenzie diving on the floor with Anderson, and work from McKenzie, out to Loving, and he hits the three.
I would describe my game as doggish, fast, free-spirited.
Washington for three, knocks it down.
Party trick or hidden skill?
I don't know.
Does that count? That would be a common party trick, yeah. Flipping the eyelids, freak people out a little bit. Coffee all day, all night, no questions asked.
Neither tea or coffee. I don't really like hot drinks.
Any black coffee that's gonna get me jittering, I'll go with that.
Not even hot chocolate. I prefer it to be ice cold and just a nice beverage to just blast down.
First thing I do when I wake up is chug a bunch of water. Yeah, take some deep breaths. Probably follow it with some coffee.
Probably take my son off my head because he's usually crawling all over it. So either that or I just turn to the left and see on the monitor if my daughter's woken up or not.
I don't want to be that guy, but I might ask for some more wishes.
Know all the truths about the universe. As dangerous as that would be, because I know I would never live a normal life after that.
If I actually only had one wish, world peace. I know that sounds corny, but if I had the power to actually make one wish come true, that would be, I think, pretty significant. So.
Some pretty deep thinking going on there. The way the Riders have been playing, I wonder if Connor Washington has unpicked the secrets of the universe. That is why they're dominating. Winning obviously helps keeping a player like this happy, who would be a starter, Drew, in many BBL sides, right? Accepting a role in a team where he's averaging 17, 18 minutes a game. winning helps, but what else needs to be in the mix to keep him motivated?
Well, making sure that the organization is looking after him behind the scenes. But like you mentioned, it's about winning. It's very similar to my situation here in Newcastle, why I stayed here for so long, because we were winning. And then also I knew all of those things that players care about off the court were always going to be taken care of.
Kimball McKenzie, again, in your brief time with the Riders today, did he do that eye trick?
Honestly, that's another reason I left.
You had to look away when we were watching that just now. He's the model of consistency, isn't he?
It's great to see. Like I was saying to Drew there, just I could see him being the high school coach, with the little rugrats running around. Like he is a model performer. He does everything by the book and seems like a great leader.
How's he embracing the bench role?
Well, you see that golf is one of his favorite pastimes. You have to have the right mentality to play golf. You have to have the right mentality to come off the bench, because he should be starting for a lot of teams in this league.
Yeah, another one. I mean, talk about depth. Gino Crandall, one of the reasons why those guys aren't starting week in, week out, of course, the reigning league MVP. And even games like last week, Drew, when he's far from on top of his game, he still finds a way to influence them.
He is an all-around player. It's just not about scoring. It's just not about assists. It's about impact. Gino Crandall, he understands that. He knows from game to game what's required from him, and he's humble enough to do that and not be focused on the stats.
Patrick Whelan is shooting almost 50% from the three-point range. Is he in the MVP conversation for you, Drew?
There ain't no doubt about it. You look at those numbers there on the screen. He don't miss. Wherever he gets the ball on the court, he's incredibly efficient. And I wouldn't be surprised if he picked up that award at the end of the year.
Would be great to see, and a hell of a season, a breakthrough season for him. Darian Nelson-Henry, the skipper of this Riders side, and there's a lot of leaders in this locker room. He is the captain. What kind of leader, Kieran, is he?
I think he brings composure, and again, another model performer. Leads by example, and that's a great thing to have. And when one of your top players is leading by example.
And the return of Mo Walker from injury this season, of course, out for virtually all of last season. He played a little bit at the end. That's effectively been like a big new signing for them, hasn't it?
I mean, it's been huge. Last week at Surrey, he scored 20 points, which is his most in a Riders jersey, and the most in the BBL since May 5th, 2017, playing his best basketball just in time for the playoffs.
It is a brilliant lineup here in Leicester. No surprise that they are top of the tree and on the verge of landing the title, retaining the title. Let's get the perspective of this man, Rob Paternoster, their head coach, as well as the Eagles head coach, Ian McLeod. Drew caught up with him a little bit earlier on.
Coach, you're fighting to make the playoffs, and with 7 games remaining, what are the keys to a strong finish?
Not waiting for that 3rd, 4th, 5th game down the road. I said to the guys last week, irrelevant of what the fixture list says, it doesn't matter what the other team says or who we're playing, it's about the next game. So not trying to plot our way through there, it's about throwing everything to the next game to try and get the next win.
An unfortunate timing for you. Can you update us on the West person's health?
Yeah, I mean, another crazy one. It unfortunately suffered from pneumonia a couple of weeks back, and that's more than just the recovery from the actual problem. It's a little bit of fitness building afterwards as well. So hopefully we can get him back this year. He's here. He'll be around the team, but just an unfortunate situation for Wes.
And Riders been consistently one of the best teams this year. What's been the key to their success?
I think depth first off. They seem to have another guy at every position. To be bringing a guy like Mo Walker off the bench is insane. Himself and Nelson-Henry pretty much split it 20 minutes each. They've got a lot of guys to share the load. People are allowed to play their role. They don't have to step out of that too much, and that's a huge thing when you're looking for consistency.
And defensively, how do you plan to contain the Riders' ball screen actions?
Easier said than done. I don't think we're too bad in the ball screen ourselves. They're probably talking about the same thing with us. But I think it's about trying to make them as passive as possible in the first dribble or two. Don't let them get downhill too much. But again, easier said than done, but it will be a focus of ours tonight.
Coach, 19-2 and on the brink of a league title. You must be happy with the season thus far.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. I think we've played some really good basketball on both ends of the floor. Our offense has been really strong, but then you look at our defense, it's been strong as well. And working with these guys has been a pleasure. Professional, dedicated, and talented.
And a couple of slow starts as of late. What's been the message to the players with the playoffs approaching?
Message is like one game at a time, to be honest with you. We haven't really talked about anything other than the opponent that's in front of us. So that's what's been so nice, too, about this team is no one gets carried away with anything. We're just focused on Newcastle Eagles tonight.
Give us some insight into how you manage the pressure and what your mentality is going into this final stretch.
Yeah, I think it's different every season. Obviously, I've been involved in a lot of these, and it's different when you're leading for the whole year, right? We've been up at the top of the table, but I think it's key to just focus on the next opponent and really don't discuss anything else. I mean, we haven't talked about playoffs, we haven't talked about league titles. We've talked about beating the next opponent.
And despite the record, the Eagles still a dangerous side. Where do they cause a threat?
Well, first of all, Fletcher, really pulls the strings for him. His ability to get in the paint and find other players is so valuable. But when you start looking at the names over there, guys that had a lot of success in this league and have been on winning teams. So, we expect them to be at their best tonight. We know what this game is, Newcastle versus Leicester. And all week we've been, preparing for what they're going to give us, and we think they'll give us their best shot tonight.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Coach Paternoster is so different pre-game to post-tip-off, isn't he? Very different. Let's look at the head-to-head. The Eagles' offense up against the #1 defense in the BBL. So how does that break down?
For me, it comes down to must win. Right now, if you look at all the stats, it's a definite Leicester win. But it's a must-win game for the Eagles. Forget everything that's on there. We have to focus on that must-win mindset. I don't know if Leicester need that. They can get complacent. That's going to be the difference for me in this game.
Individually, Drew, who needs to step up tonight for the Eagles?
Well, with Wes Person missing, it has to be Corey Johnson. He has to get back to his form that he played at the beginning of the year, where he was essentially the Eagles' best player. So we need to see that version of him.
And, of course, a winning mentality coming from a culture of winning. It isn't just Newcastle playing title spoiler. They've got their own season on the line. So is this down to a question of who wants it more tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with Kieran. Let's scrap all these graphics. The Leicester Riders are knocking on the league title door. The Newcastle Eagles are on the brink of missing the playoffs. They can't go out like that. You can't let this team celebrate on your floor, and you cannot miss the playoffs.
It is going to be an absolutely fascinating encounter. We could have new champs crowned by the end of this evening. The Eagles, well, they could be the comeback kids back in the playoff mix with momentum, or they could be staring down the barrel the final few weeks of the season. Tip-off is coming next.
Fletcher. Oh, that's trademark Ramon Fletcher. Crandall's going to take another three. Oh!
There is a nervy, tense and excited atmosphere here at the Virtue Arena in Newcastle. So much at stake over the next couple of hours. So let's get this one underway and hand over to our commentary team for the first time this evening. Andrew and Dan Rowett.
Thank you very much, Nat. Yes, the title could be won today, but not if Newcastle have anything to do about that, I'm sure. Let's take a look at the starting fives, starting with the Newcastle Eagles. And Darius Defoe went past 6,000 points for his career this week. Ramon Fletcher had 18 assists, his career high. Those two guys key tonight.
Those are the veterans, those are the leaders, and what better strategy for McLeod than to start with those two. Look for Corey Johnson here as well to score against his former club.
Let's take a look at the starting five for the Leicester Riders. It is a familiar looking five, and Patrick Whelan getting a lot of love in the last week, talking about potential MVP.
The leading scorer for the best club in the country. Why not? Been so efficient, so productive, and who better to join him in that backcourt with former MVP Gino Crandall.
Well, the two teams are out there. Leicester must win to edge closer to the title. They will need London to lose to be celebrating tonight. We will keep an eye on that game, of course, as well as this one right in front of us. And it's the Newcastle Eagles who get us underway. Sayers down low to Gordon. Spins into a bit of trouble. Kicks it back out. Defoe shooting over Nelson Henry, rims out.
Well, when you got 6,000 points, why not get a couple more? Darius Defoe looking aggressive early.
He's loving under pressure from Defoe and does enough to put him off. Defoe kicking back out to Fletcher, space for three, rims out.
That's a good looking shot for Ramon Fletcher, and he's going to get his confidence up. He had a really rough shooting night on Wednesday, going 1 for 10, so look for him to be aggressive early and get in his rhythm.
Crandall, great pass into Nelson Henry. Still had work to do, the big man, but he's able to finish off.
He had work to do, Dan, but more often than not, we know Darren Nelson Henry, if he catches the ball that deep, may as well already chalk up 2 points.
Here's Johnson, the former Leicester Rider. Here's Fletcher to Gordon. He's left all on his own, so he might as well shoot it and knock it down.
Well, I think he should. He's shooting a healthy 46% from the three-point line. Yes, it's a small sample size, but nah, he's a guy that can knock that down.
Jackson turns the corner, gets all the way to the rim, but off the mark. Fletcher is blocked by Crandall, but straight to Gordon for two.
Good activity from Gordon early, 5 points for him, and Ramon Fletcher, we know he's going to get in there and go left, and Gordon following up for his teammate.
I just wonder if Fletcher came up limping a little bit out of that. We'll keep an eye on him.
That's the last thing the Eagles want, another player unable to play.
Crandall using his strength and getting into the lane.
And that's what we see from Gino Crandall. If he's not creating for others, he's good enough to create for himself and gets a good, high efficient shot around the rim there.
Here's Defoe, leaving that one short. Crandall looking to push for Leicester. And the pump foul called on Ramon Fletcher. As we take a look back at the replay, Drew Lasker has joined us in commentary. Drew, we talk about the league title. The last thing anybody in this building wants to see is the league title won here tonight.
I mean, you're talking to a former Newcastle Eagle. That would be catastrophic to add on to everything that's happened to the season. The Leicester Riders cannot celebrate in Virtue Motors Arena tonight.
Gordon with the rebound.
Well, it's almost a sellout. I thought everyone came to see that tonight, no?
They came to see that Justin Gordon weaving his way through traffic with the early 7 points, and he's been phenomenal since his return back to the Newcastle Eagles this season.
He has all of Newcastle's points here in the first 3 minutes. Nelson Henry along the baseline. It's going to be a foul on Gordon.
Well, it's twice now that Mark Lovin has looked to penetrate and got the Newcastle Eagles to commit the fouls. First on Ramon Fletcher, then on Gordon there with that visually obvious grab.
But you like to see that from Mark Levin because his numbers have been down over the course of the season, as we see Nelson Henry there scoring 2 buckets. But he's starting to adjust to the scouting report, which is to run him off the three-point line and force him to make a play. He's been hesitant before tonight, but 2 early attempts got a fouls on Fletcher and Justin Gordon.
Defoe out to Johnson, who misses the 3. Rebound Loving.
Gino Crandall's really good defender. You see how long and quick he is. He was bridging the gap between that post entry to Defoe there, and he switched on Corey Johnson, who was able to get out there and contest that shot and do enough to cut him off.
Crandall, that's a tough shot. Loving with the follow.
Wow, Mark Loving, he's looked active early, and there he is in the
Oh,
follow.
what pass, but Gordon couldn't quite lay it in. Whelan to the finger roll.
It's just too easy, straight down the middle, and Patrick Whelan finding a way to get it done yet again.
Got to be a little bit more resistance with Newcastle Eagles transition defense.
Fletcher round the screen to Defoe at the elbow, challenged by Loving. Nelson Henry using his strength, spins into a double team. There was a slap down there. I think it was Defoe who's going to get called for the foul.
This is where Eagles are going to be extra careful here. Their rotation is very thin, so what they don't want to do is get in foul trouble early, because as soon as you take one of those pieces of the puzzle out of the equation, they're at a massive disadvantage.
There's Nelson Henry again. Looking to back down Defoe, spinning. And the travelling violation is the call, or is it? The referee on the baseline had his fist up for a foul. Travel call first.
And you like to see that from the refs, making sure they get the call right, in particular when you know that all that's on the line tonight with the Leicester Riders and the Newcastle Eagles. That's a great job by the refs.
Here's Johnson. Whelan hits the deck. Gordon is open as a result of it, but misses the 3.
He doesn't knock it down, but I like that. I like Justin Gordon looking for that 3-point shot early.
Crandall driving hard to the hole, and he's unable to finish. Fletcher is blocked by Whelan.
Patrick Whelan just keeping his body in front of the defender. He knows he's bigger and longer than Ramon Fletcher, and Ramon Fletcher trying to scoop that ball up through, but Patrick Whelan was equal to it.
And I meant when I said pre-game about Patrick Whelan being an MVP candidate because of that. Not only doing it offensively, but getting after it on the defensive end as well.
Johnson rattles in a 3.
It's a big shot from Corey Johnson. Nice step back 3. It was contested, but Corey Johnson knocking down another 3.
A bit too much zip on that pass from Nelson Henry.
You don't often see that link up between Henry and a guard go wrong. On that occasion, not on the money.
Sayers onto Gordon along the baseline, running out of room, but finds a bit of extra space. Quick outlet, what a pass from Crandall to Jackson, and he's able to score.
And that's the difference you see early. Newcastle Eagles shot attempts just seem a little bit more difficult than the Leicester Riders. They can make one pass and get a transition layup. Got to be better on that side of the ball.
Defoe in the mid-range, knocks it down.
It's a great fun from Ramon Fletcher. He knows where his team are. 18 assists for Ramon Fletcher on Wednesday night. So even though he's not shooting the ball particularly well at the moment, he's seeing his teammates and finding them good looks.
First substitution of the game is Mo Walker for Darian Nelson Henry after Fletcher trying to steal the ball away here. Newcastle have made a change as well now with Brandon Peel checking in. Jackson just didn't quite have enough on that. Peel has the size here, but Whelan doing a great job. Defoe putting it on the floor, runs into trouble, but knocks the shot down anyway.
And that's what he does. He's developed that mid-range game with a little spin. Remember the bottom of the net.
Loving. Takes the three and knocks it down.
Eagles have done a relatively good job as well of getting out to Mark Loving, but this time he takes his time, he creates his space for a shot and knocks it down.
Here's Peel stepping into the three, off the mark. Walker with the quick outlet to Loving. Loving driving hard, high off the glass, wants a whistle, doesn't get one. Johnson to the foe. Falling off the mark, he wanted a foul, but I think he made the contact there.
And that's where Mo Walker has the advantage, because he's so big and he's so wide, it knocks the foe off balance there.
Whelan, his shot rims out. Fletcher off the mark. Whelan puts it on the floor and takes it all the way to the rim.
That's an issue. When you get beat, when you go by your man, there's no interior defense, so no help. And that's what the Eagles have struggled with game after game. There's just no help the helper defense there.
Sayers running off the screen, gets to the elbow. Crandall with the rebound. He's looking down court straight away. And that's a push by Johnson as Whelan had him beat again.
Well, a little bit of frustration, but he knows if he doesn't push him, Patrick Whelan goes to the rim again. Again, there's no real big or an off guard coming across there to step into the lane.
And what you're looking for, Ann, is you're looking for that second line of defense. And we always used to talk about when that guard is driving, he needs to see 2 or 3 players' numbers behind him. And right now, you don't see that for the Newcastle Eagles. You see a C and a basket.
Here's McKenzie fresh into the game and finds the bottom of the net with his first touch.
And that's what he does. I talked about it earlier. You have to have the right mindset coming off the bench, only averaging 18 minutes a game. But he's okay with that because he understands the bigger picture, and that's winning.
Fletcher. Fans counting down the shot clock here for Newcastle. Fletcher gets that away. Walker with the rebound. Again, the quick outlet. Again, let's have numbers. It's McKenzie off the assist from Whelan.
That is a beautiful transition offense there. Ball barely hits the floor in the back of the rim.
And not a good transition by the Eagles as Walker breaks it up. Crandall at speed. Crandall to the finger roll. Lays it in.
That's it, the punishment there that the Leicester Riders can inflict on you. A rush shot again by the Newcastle Eagles, and an easy layup for Gino Crandall on the other end of the floor.
And you can see the Leicester Riders game plan, understanding that the Eagles were in London on Wednesday. So I feel like Gino Crandall is pitching the ball ahead more times than usual, trying to run it down these guys' necks and get into their legs. As you see Justin Gordon there hunched over.
Well, there hasn't been too many substitution. A lot of long first quarter minutes here in this ball game.
Well, there will be long minutes for the Eagles players just because the rotation is a lot leaner.
Particularly for number 44, whose three doesn't go, and again Whelan leaks out. Cross court to McKenzie. Into Crandall, who gets fouled and somehow scores. Gino Crandall with a tremendous finish.
That's so difficult. The foul was intentional. They wanted to stop the play, but Gino Crandall's ability he lost the ball, regained possession, and put it in the back of the net. Good finish.
And that play was caused by the Eagles' transition defense. Not getting back, they pitched the ball ahead to Whelan, and then now the Newcastle Eagles defense is on the back foot, and this is a part of this game they're going to have to rectify if they're going to get a win tonight.
Gino Crandall's played the whole of the first quarter. Ramon Fletcher's going to get the last 25 seconds off. There's Gordon out to Yabantu. They can just about take this down. A couple of seconds between shot and game clock. Gordon. Oh, great hands And that's going to be a foul, and Leicester won an unsportsmanlike. I don't think the referee's going to call that, but it will be 2 shots anyway because Newcastle are over the limit.
Jabril Adekoya has the best hands in the BBL. If he played extended minutes, he would lead the league in steals. I'm so confident in that statement. His timing and anticipation is incredible.
And the issue for the Newcastle Eagles now is you have their 2 best players in Justin Gordon and Ramon Fletcher on 2 fouls.
And they're down 12.
Yeah, that too.
And they've given up 27, potentially 28 points in quarter against a team that's more than comfortable at scoring 90. So you've got to somehow slow that down. Sorry, am I piling on? I apologize.
Take it easy on me, Dan. Jeez.
Here's Johnson. Well, he somehow got through, but he didn't get the shot away. Well, exactly the first quarter that Rob Paternostro and the Leicester Riders would have hoped for coming here. They've kept the home team to 14. They've doubled that at the other end. And at the end of the opening quarter here in Newcastle, it is 28-14 in favour of the Riders. And we will have the second quarter action after this break. Welcome back to Newcastle, where the Leicester Riders are edging towards the title. Both results they need tonight are going their way. They lead by 14. London trail by 4 at the end of the first quarter. Here's Adekoya. Oh, beautiful from Adekoya for 2.
Wow, the patience there, just toying with him, the ability to keep that dribble alive. Nice finish.
But that scouting report, I haven't seen Jabril shoot many pull-up jump shots with a hand in the face, so you just got to stay disciplined and choose your poison. That's him taking a contested jump shot.
Johnson, short on the 3, but the ball comes all the way out to Sayers. Fletcher back to Defoe. Nice pass to Johnson underneath.
Really nice look there. Looks like Darius Defoe's lining up another mid-range jump shot, and last minute there, pass it down to Corey Johnson for an easy bucket.
Here's Washington. Out to McKenzie for three, and he strings it.
This guy just gets the job done. So efficient.
Good hands again from Adekoya, and he's off to the races. They won't catch him, and he'll get the easy score. And we're 1 minute and 20 seconds into the second quarter, and Ian McLeod has called a timeout. His Newcastle team trail by 19.
That's a dangerous sign for the Eagles there. The Riders look like they're having fun, and Newcastle Eagles look discombobulated.
You've been reading your dictionary. I'm sorry, but that stinks. And it's not the turnover. It's the fact that no one on the team ran back and made an attempt to make a hustle play. And that sums up the Newcastle Eagles season all year long. Just not making those little plays.
Well, the Newcastle Eagles, if they lose tonight and Glasgow win, will drop out of the playoff place. At the minute, they're currently tied for 8. Glasgow are winning by 10, by the way, in that. It's been a long time since Newcastle were not in the playoff places. It's been so long that you hadn't even gone to Port Loma at that point to start your Hall of Fame career. 2002, the last time Newcastle weren't in the top 8. Other than the beginning of the season, they lost the first game, and that doesn't really count. But in a regular, normal part of the season, the table will look jarring if they can't find something here to get back.
And that's not the only thing, Dan. This has been an unprecedented season. Every week I look up, you're posting some stat about the Newcastle Eagles haven't scored this or done this since 1900. So yeah, it's been tough.
Well, they've only won 9 games all year. They're 9-20 in all competitions. And the only other team below 10 is Surrey. And again, I know that they had COVID issues in the Cup, so they lost a lot of games in the group stages of the Cup, but 9 wins out of 29.
Well, here's something for you. If they don't win tonight, it is impossible for them to finish above 500, regardless if they go undefeated all the way to the playoffs. So, tough.
Last time that happened was the last time they missed the playoffs. Here's Johnson for 3, and he knocks it down.
That's good hustle there from Darius Defoe to give his team a second opportunity. And Corey Johnson, someone who has to be aggressive. He has to get volume shots up here today and carry a lot of this offensive load.
There's Washington round the screen, and he has a free lane to the basket.
That is just too easy. To me, a former player, inexcusable. It has to be better. From all accounts too, it's not just the big guy coming over, it's everyone together collectively as a unit, making sure they're concerned with not just their man, but also their team's men.
I think Washington was a little surprised that he was so open. You can see that one bounced off his legs out of bounds. Sayers looking to create late in the shot clock, throws it away. McKenzie's already hit one from there. Make that 2.
Kimball McKenzie, he'll kill you. He's someone who does not have any sympathy whatsoever for a struggling team. He wants to come off the bench and he wants to inflict punishment.
And coming off the bench in top 10 in three-point percentages, we know that. I'm not sure if the Newcastle Eagles know that stat.
Well, he's played 4 minutes. He's got 10 points. He's taken 4 shots and got 10 points. Thought he was going to fire another one there. Washington. This time it's Adekoya in that spot. Different result.
And that's fortunate too, because Adekoya had a lot of time. Peel did get out there, but he had a lot of time to get that off.
Johnson trying to create some space. Peel over the top, but he knocks it down to Washington. Walker at the top of the key, and he knocks that down.
Well, why not? He's got time. Shoot it, and again, these are players that they're professional basketball players. You give them any amount of time, they will 9 times out of 10 they're going to knock it down.
Fletcher for 3. Hits.
That's a big shot for Fletch. He needed that, as you mentioned, and 1 for 10 in London on Wednesday. And just to see the ball go through the hoop and get his confidence going, scoring the ball, which is unfortunate because he's so heavily relied on. We know what he brings to the ball on the assist table, but having to carry a heavy load for this Newcastle Eagles team this season.
Well, he missed his first 7. Can he make 2 in a row? Yes, he can.
And that's the player of his caliber can do. You hit one shot, and then you get that ounce of confidence, and that's he's a game changer.
Washington open for 3, and he makes them pay.
Another guy that absolutely unconscious, and you've got the issue here now having a Kimball McKenzie and a Connor Washington coming off the bench while your original guards are playing heavy minutes for the Eagles.
Darius Defoe with the illegal screen. Well, we spoke to them before the game. McKenzie and Washington, they've come off the bench. They've added 15 points. They've missed 1 shot between them.
And that's key for a team, like we talked about, having that bench play, solid bench play, and 2 guys in particular who can start for many teams in this league. But again, it's about that mentality, humbling yourself and putting the team first, which Connor Washington and Kimball McKenzie are model citizens of.
Well, Crandall's come back. I don't think he would have got 5 minutes rest if it was a 2-point game, but thrown away by Nelson Henry. Peel, well done by Washington, but Peel's able to stay with it.
Well, it wasn't the cleanest of executions, but you don't care if you're an Eagles fan because the ball went through the net, and good persistence there from Brandon Peel.
The problem is at this end, Leicester have 45 points with still the best part of 5 minutes to go, and that was a bit hard by Johnson. And he seems to have hurt himself in the process.
It's always the danger when the defense leaves their feet. Obviously, Nelson Henry's he's programmed to do that pump fake and then go up through the defender.
Well, he's obviously landed awkwardly in all of that, and there is some concern for Corey Johnson.
It seemed like as he was coming down, his face might have slammed into the court as Nelson Henry was on top of his head as they both were going down. But we just hope it's nothing serious for the Newcastle Eagles.
Here's another look. He's gone up and he's hit Nelson Henry's knee on the way down.
Oh, wow. That's really a nasty looking play there and unfortunate.
So the referee is going to call a timeout here while they get some treatment to Corey Johnson on the sidelines. And well, it's still going all to plan for the Leicester Riders. Bristol still ahead down at the copper box. Leicester well ahead here, and Corey Johnson is back to his feet, and their little embrace for Nelson Henry. They were, of course, teammates last year. All about these Leicester teams. I think he played with Kimball McKenzie as well in the Canadian League in the summer. And we can get back underway with Nelson Henry at the free throw line. He's a very good shooter from the free throw line for a man of his position. You find the centre struggle a little bit more with it. There's a pass right on cue.
Nice job, Dan.
The Leicester Rider fans watching at home. Dan Routledge is the target man right now.
Well, I remember costing Kieran a place in the standings as Gordon goes to the basket for the and one.
That's what Justin Gordon could do, regardless of what's going on around him. He'll keep going. His engine doesn't know any other gear but gear 5. And I think it's a really good point that was made, pre-game. He has been that impactful player. He just hasn't been enough. 18 points a game. He's been efficient. It's incredible numbers he's posting, but even with those productive numbers, he hasn't been able to propel the difficulties that our Eagles are having as a whole.
Nelson Henry. Oh, nice backdoor cut from Jackson and drop to him from his captain.
I mean, the Leicester Riders are just putting on a clinic, and you see this capacity crowd here, Virtue Motors Arena, really subdued. They've sold this thing out for weeks on weeks, and so, but the Eagles have just not given them anything to cheer about.
Well, here's one man trying to do that, but Gordon can't convert. Leicester again with the rebound. Crandall dancing with them. Oh, nice pass. Nelson Henry patient with it.
So good. The penetration there, Gino Crandall. He knows if he gets his big man the ball in that area, it's all she wrote. Nelson Henry with another 2 points.
Gordon's going to take the three. Crandall with the rebound. Leicester running again. Jackson, route one.
And again, one pass and a score. We talked about it from the top, the transition defense or lack thereof from the Newcastle Eagles.
Well, we are still in the second quarter. Let's have 52 points on the board here with 3:27 to go in the first half, and Coach McLeod having to call another timeout. His team just can't get a stop at the minute, Drew.
Yeah, and that's been, I mean, you look at the statistics, they're giving up 91 points a game. And like I said pre-game, it wouldn't be an issue if Newcastle was always scoring 92. But I revert back to last year's finals or playoff run, playing Sheffield. Every game the defense got better. It started off by giving up 82 points to Sheffield, then 77 to the Leicester Riders, then 75, and then ultimately winning the championship by giving up 66 points to the London Lions. This team this year just haven't showed the capability of even displaying that type of defense.
Well, they might keep Leicester to 66 in the first half
But it's been, that's the bar they're trying to set down. It's going to be a really difficult finish to the season for them. But the issue with the defense is it's been getting worse. You know, we've talked about the frailties on the defensive end around Christmas time, and it's just got progressively worse for them. And the issue they've got is they've subtracted players, scorers like Wesley Persons that gives them that 16 to 20 points a game. You know, so they're not scoring the ball, and their defense is getting worse. It's just a vicious combination and a part of the downward spiral they're currently experiencing.
Here's Gordon. On to Johnson. Drives in, drops it off, and Williams at the glass.
That will give them a world of confidence. You always want to put in a good, solid offense out of a timeout, and that was executed to perfection.
Jackson has the size. There's no help. It came late from Beal.
Really late, and Zach Jackson was just saying thank you very much.
Gordon for three. He knocks down another triple. His second of the game. He's got 13.
And I can't say anything about Justin Gordon's effort today as he knocks that three down. He's come to play today like he does every game. 13 points here in the first half. Playing tough defense down low.
Crandall loses the ball. Two minutes to play here in the first half. Leicester lead by 20, thrown away. Eagles wanted a foul. They will get one in the end as Jackson diving on the floor fouls Johnson.
Well, it's like Corey Johnson's ex-teammates are just going for him. Look at this spear.
Yeah, he's got him as well.
I don't know if there's some underlying beef there between his ex-teammates and Corey Johnson, but no, two players just going after the ball there, and Corey Johnson was first to it.
Well, Crandall was wrapped up with Gordon, which was the initial foul that Newcastle wanted. Johnson in a double team, gets it to Gordon, moved on to Fletcher for three. What a shot!
That's a huge shot because there was a fly. Gino Crandall coming out towards him there. Big play.
3 of 6 now from behind the arc for Fletcher. That's his 9 points. Crandall all the way to the finger roll.
Just like butter. Knife through butter. Slices through that defense. Nice finish.
Fletcher looking to attack and getting all the way to the basket.
That's a really good sign for this Eagles team, not just for today, but I'm talking about the fixtures to come. Ramon Fletcher, 11 points personal for him.
Nelson Henry, double team comes. Is it a travel? It is a travel. Just keep a look at his feet. He's dribbling it there. Not sure about that one.
I think he picked his back pivot up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shooting the shot.
Before the shot, I would say it was before the shot just.
Big Man's Union not in full working order.
No,
tonight,
I'm going with the refs on this one.
Yeah. Here's Johnson. Steps back to the free throw line. Peel with the offensive rebound. Not loose by Crandall. And I think Whelan got him before the block. Here's number 12 that signaled to the table.
This is great energy though from Gino Crandall. There it's a layup if Gino Crandall doesn't come in there, and here is an and one if Gino Crandall doesn't come in there. It's just that constant persistence and annoyance and athletic annoyance from Gino Crandall to prevent Peel from getting an easy two.
That is the third foul on Leicester in the half.
Wow.
The Eagles have 3 guys on 6. 3 guys on 2. But you know Rob Paternoster as well as anybody. It's one thing he preaches. Day one in preseason, no fouls, no fouls. Play defense, no fouls.
And it's, we're looking at this Riders team right now playing a close to perfect game on the offensive end, but Coach Paternoster won't be happy. Newcastle Eagles have scored 42 points currently before half-time. This is a Leicester Riders team that are used to conceding 70 points a game. So he won't be happy with the production on the defensive end.
Crandall down to Nelson Henry, and he gets the roll.
Wow, just used up a lot of that shot clock. Good 22 seconds offense there, and Nelson Henry, 9 points personal for him.
Have cut it to 16 here, Newcastle. Trying to get one more score. Fletcher takes the 3 again, and makes the 3 again. 4 threes for Fletcher.
Goodness me, 14 points personal for him.
Crandall's pass just a little bit too far in front. They've turned this one over, Leicester. 1 second to go. Well, a 3-pointer here. It's a 10-point game at halftime, which it never really looked like. Both teams have 30 in this quarter. Here's Fletcher from inside his own half. Ooh, he wasn't too far away. Well, the Leicester Riders have scored 58 points here in the first half, but they only lead by 13. There's a little bit of a late rally from the Newcastle Eagles. Has put this one slightly back in reach for them.
It has, and it's been surprisingly the Newcastle Eagles offense. We keep hammering on about defense. Clearly defense is not high on the agenda for them. They've conceded 58 at half-time, but their offense has been able to keep them within reach here. Justin Gordon continues to chip away, and a really big insurgent second quarter there from Ramon Fletcher. 14 points personal for him at half-time.
Well, here's the numbers in the first half. 21 of 29 Leicester from 2-point range. That is incredible, and that's probably why they've only shot 6 3-pointers, because they've got to the basket whenever they really wanted to in this game.
Oh, if no one stops you, just keep doing it, and that's been very little resistance internally there from the Newcastle Eagles. So, as you say, Dan, that's why those points in the paint have come, and points around the basket, because they've been there.
Well, Fletcher, 4 of 8, has led the Eagles' 3-point shooting, which has pulled them back into this game at 13. But one guy who had a tremendous impact off the bench for the Leicester Riders with 10 points, Kimball McKenzie, and he is with Drew.
Kimball, you guys had a couple of slow first quarter starts as of late, but 28 points in the first. You guys seem to be more locked in tonight.
Yeah, we knew they'd come out fast at this place. Obviously, Coach Rob stressed that to us. So I thought we had a good first quarter. I thought we let up a little bit in the second quarter. Let them get loose a little bit, let them get in transition. So we're looking to clean that up.
And you can start for many teams, but you seem to be content here for the Riders. What's your mentality you take into this bench role?
Get wins as a team. I think that's all of our mentality.
And results seem to be going your way elsewhere. What's required in the second half to finish the job and celebrate a possible league title here?
Get them off the 3-point line, keep rebounding the ball.
Great job. We'll see you in the second half.
Thanks.
Yeah, great start indeed for the Leicester Riders. So far, so good. Although the Eagles rallying at the end of that quarter means it is just a 13-point lead. Well, the Eagles rallying offensively, particularly in that second quarter. But let's face it, it has been all Riders for much of the first half, absolutely dominating this Newcastle defense. Everybody getting involved. Bench points from Connor Washington, from Kibble McKenzie, the skipper, Darian Nelson-Henry getting in the mix as well. A solid all-round performance from Leicester offensively, in particular, as you'll see there from the numbers, shooting across the board on point. But light at the end of the tunnel for Newcastle, Kieran Achara, as we saw in the final few minutes of that second quarter, and in particular they're getting second chance points moving.
Yeah, they made a big comeback in that second quarter, especially at the offensive end. They're not doing the job defensively, but if they're going to try and get back into this game, they know they need to claw away. 13 second chance points to 2 from the Leicester Riders shows a little bit of fight.
Given what's at stake for Newcastle, what did you make of the intensity levels that we saw from them, particularly defensively in that first half?
Yeah, I think their focal point there was very much from an offensive perspective, and because of that, they've kind of let go at the defensive end. A lot of things are not going their way. Giving up too many fast break points, some easy scores for Leicester Riders, so they're really still struggling at the defensive end.
Well, fast break points, something we typically associate with Newcastle's offence, right? But it's been all Riders in that respect. The defensive regression that you cited at the start of the show for Newcastle, we're seeing that in full effect tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, and this sums it up for me. Like, I'm watching them walking back on defence. Great attack there from Gino Crandall, getting to the basket, really exploiting that. You know, Eagles are dropping their head, they're not paying attention, turnover, easy score at the other end. And that's something, if you're in a playoff fight to try and make those playoffs, you cannot be giving up those easy points.
So Eagles fans watching that now will be asking, why is that happening?
Yeah, definitely. I think to me it comes a lot to frustration. So I'm seeing a turnover at one end. I see the initial reaction is drop your head, when actually we need to get back, make up for that play. Right now they're in a rut, and it's really shown. That little lapse of a drop of the head is enough to giving up 2 points.
A lot of Leicester getting involved, including Gino Crandall, the reigning MVP, putting up the numbers, although it doesn't seem like he's playing at his highest level.
It's not even that. Like, for me, Gino right now he's very controlled. I like to say, you know, I heard Andrew talking about Gordon playing in 5th gear. Gino's playing in 3rd gear at the moment, and he's still getting to the basket, still getting to the spot, still delivering passes. But we know he's got another couple of gears to go. Such
a good play, just as we saw last week. Even when he's not at the very top of his game, still better than most and influencing it so much. For the Eagles, positives, particularly Justin Gordon, who had a big first half, putting up the points, boards, assists as well, and offensively, collectively in that second quarter, 31 points for the Eagles. Rob Paternoster will be emphasising that point to his defence in the locker room, won't he?
Well, for sure. You know, they gave up 32 points in the first quarter against Bristol last week. Now they've given up 31 points. Justin Gordon, players like them who have got a motor, keeps on attacking the basket. You have to find a way to take charges and box them out at the defensive end.
And that, I guess, is a big challenge for the Riders at this stage of the season, when it's pretty much in the bag, but they've got to get over the line to keep that intensity up, that focus up.
And we worry, you know, a lot of teams would worry about complacency. It's very easy to be complacent, but at the exact same time, it's Leicester Riders. They know what they need to do.
At the half in London, the latest score, 37-36. Bristol leading the London Lions at the half. So if the scores stay the same, if the Riders win this one, and if the Flyers lose rather beat London, then Leicester will be the champions at the end of the night. But there is still a lot of basketball to play. And Newcastle fans, you might have found that first half kind of difficult to watch. Well, this is something that is bound to cheer you up. It's Kieran Achara's favourite part of the week. It's the BBL Plays of the Week.
Miller comes away with it. Lobs up the alley-oop and jammed in by Delpesh.
Miller, good push. Just throws it up high, and Delpesh, he has been near perfect around the rim.
What an incredible play from Fraser Malcolm.
Ball into Simmons, who throws it down from Simmons. Zach Simmons. What a play for the Bristol Flyers.
Wow.
Pass finished by Harris.
Oh, that was disgusting.
Oh, good hands from Mo Walker for the steal. He's still got it, the big man. He's spinning and going. Oh, great play from Mo Walker.
Regains possession, gets composure. Nice spin move as well, which gets him that inside position.
Stolen by Teo. Kalen round the back pass. Teo with a throwdown. It's into Jacob. Jacob fires. Oh, it's blocked by Crandall. And Leicester come away with the ball. What a play by Gino Crandall. Wow.
Now, last one we saw, Gino Crandall, was our play of the game last weekend. Is it going to be the play of the week, though?
There was a lot of big plays this week, but I'm going to have to, you know, I've already gave Jordan Johnson his credit during the VT there, but I had to go to Simmons. Going at a shot blocker like Kelly, that was just disgusting.
Yes, it was. I saw you sneak into the highlights package as well. They're getting everywhere with these disgustings. All right, then, second half action underway shortly here in Newcastle. It was a tall order for the Eagles, but there is hope the way their offense rallied at the end of the first half. Leicester, the title within touching distance. Second half coming up. Point lead for the Riders at the half. Second half about to get underway, so let's get back to Drew and Dan.
Thank you very much, Nat. Yeah, I thought that first half, probably 18 minutes, Leicester got exactly everything they wanted, and then 13 feels like Newcastle got a bit of a momentum towards the end. If they can start the second half with a little bit of a run here, they can put some doubt back into this game.
Well, firstly, it's not over with. That's why you play 40 minutes. And the Newcastle Eagles, they just have to get some stops, because if you're going to allow them to score 116 points, that puts too much pressure on your offense. So carry some of that momentum offensively that they had in the last 5 minutes of the second quarter, and just show some fight on the defensive end.
Well, Leicester need 2 results to win the league. And of the 2 that they could get tonight, both are currently going their way. Bow into Gordon. Under pressure. Rebound Crandall.
Good stand there from Mark Lovin. No, swipe down there. No jump out. It was a solid play, making Justin Gordon shoot a difficult shot.
Nelson Henry has the mismatch, but he gives it out to Loving, who's open for 3. And he's short. Quick outlet to Gordon. Good pass, but he couldn't quite hang on to it. Crandall lobs up the alley-oop. What a pass that is.
That's a great play there. And as you see, Gino Crandall does all the work here. Penetrates, attracts 3 defenders to come to him. And his teammate, Nelson Henry, gets himself point number 11.
Johnson has it knocked loose. Again, Leicester looking to push quickly. Crandall getting all the way to the basket. He's fouled late on by Defoe. And that will be foul number 3 on Darius Defoe.
Do you see how good that transition was? Darius Defoe was running back, and as soon as he turned his head, he sees a running, driving Gino Crandall at him. Tough call there for Darius Defoe. But it was just a surprise. He looked and he saw Crandall coming straight at him, instantly.
Well, the one thing I would say is because of where the position was, there was nothing positive that Defoe could do there. So in some ways, he should just move out of the way and not give the referee the chance to blow the whistle on that.
He's a competitor. He can't move out of the way.
I know it's easy. I know it's easy to say, but he couldn't take it.
Not if you have 2 fouls, though.
Yeah. There was a late call from the referee on the baseline for a kickball. Let's have another look. Yeah, it came off the foot of Loving first of all. Fletcher. Almost stolen away again by Leicester, but Johnson gets it. Moved on to Fletcher. Nelson Henry diving out at him, did enough to put him off.
And that was great scrambling defense by the Leicester Riders. Next man up, always having that second line of defense.
Fletcher running back, and he's well challenged. That's a tremendous finish.
It's an excellent finish there, but good hustle from Patrick Whelan as well. That's your leading scorer, chasing down a former MVP, and just a better play there from Ramon Fletcher.
Crandall into Nelson Henry. Goes up with the hook and scores.
So difficult, and you see how controlled Gino Crandall is. He keeps that dribble alive. All he has to do is throw the ball up in the area of Nelson Henry, and he does the rest.
6 of 6 from the floor, Nelson Henry for 13 points. Fletcher, high off the glass for 2.
And that's a signature finish we've seen many times by Ramon Fletcher, getting to a strong hand, finishing high off the glass.
18 points for Fletcher.
That's great response from him as well. He started this game off very shaky.
He missed his first 7 shots.
Yeah, off the back of a 1 for 10 game as well. That just shows you the mental toughness of Ramon Fletcher.
It's too easy. How many times have they done that today, Leicester?
And Patrick Whelan sees that. He sees the space, but all he knows he's got to do is get past his initial defender, because there is absolutely nothing second line defense there.
Fletcher along the baseline. Knocked away again by Leicester. They've got numbers here, 4 on 3. Loving out to Whelan for the triple, and he knocks it down. And 3 minutes into the second half, and Leicester's dominance is reasserted on the game. They lead by 21, and a timeout is called by Coach McLeod.
It's the sign of a champion. You're up big, you're up by 13-14 at half-time. You come back into the third quarter, there's no complacency. There's not, okay, we'll see how Newcastle react. Leicester Riders are just so focused and so professional in their execution, and find themselves with a nice 21-point cushion.
And Patrick Whelan, what did I say at the top of the show? This guy doesn't miss. If he has his feet set, he's leading the Leicester Riders in most offensive categories. So, highly efficient player. And again, it's going to be tough making that MVP call.
Well, the Leicester Riders leading by 21 here, and the Bristol Flyers have stretched their lead in the copper box. They are up 6.
Wow. Well, the Leicester Rider fans watching at home, if things stay as they are, you could be seeing you will be seeing your team crowned league champions this evening.
Well, they can only control what they can control, but I bet Pablo Vasquez has an eye on the score, the assistant coach. Nothing gets past Pablo.
Somebody will be having those scores on a phone there on the Leicester Riders bench. No doubt about it.
Williams. Fletcher for 3 off the ball.
Coach Kapoulis might get an invite to the end of season Riders party this year.
All good hands from Fletcher to steal that away. Fletcher with the nice pass. Gordon is fouled.
Good push there from Ramon Fletcher. He knows that Justin Gordon's trailing there, and the athleticism just takes him all the way. to the look he takes off. Goodness me, 2-foot jump from the free throw line.
And if Loving wasn't standing there, Kieran Achara would have some content to roll during the week because Justin Gordon is a high flyer. We've seen him many times take off 2 feet in that exact spot.
I thought you said Kieran Achara was going to be subbed into the game.
No.
The new Leicester Rider.
I don't see how anybody went for that April Fool's joke.
I know.
I mean,
the deadline was at the last one.
But the Leicester Riders are doing just fine now. If they said Glasgow Rocks, maybe you would have gotten it. Surely they can use them a lot more.
Here's Crandall. Seeing Loving in the corner. Here's Whelan again, and he does not miss, as you just said.
This guy, Patrick Whelan, we have to remember his very first game for the Leicester Riders, he only scored 4 points as he was trying to fill himself out within this new team, but I think he settled in just well.
I think he has, and here he is with the jam in transition off another turnover, and Whelan has 14.
He does everything, shoots threes, he drives, pull-up jump shot. He's showing us a little bit of that athleticism there with a dunk shot.
I mean, if I'm going to be critical, that's probably the only part of his game you got to work on this summer. Just, we need a little bit more cotton back on that dunk, don't we? I mean, come on, Pat. Come on, baby.
They're all worth 2 points.
I'm sure Rob Parnassus will just prefer to put the ball in the hole.
Fletcher trying to get round Nelson Henry, getting into the foe. He does really well in traffic.
He does incredibly well. That's a lot of players. We call those trees. There's players everywhere. And Darius Defoe just finds a way to see daylight and shoot the ball.
Crandall out to Whelan again. Ooh, one's come out. As Peel gets the rebound. Well, he's down to 50% from the three-point line. How many turnovers? The Newcastle Eagles here in this quarter. That's going to be an offensive foul waved off the score on Jackson.
Goodness me, that is a bad call. And Williams, as you can see, is clearly moving. You've got to be stationary, and you've got to hold your position and have the offensive player come into you. But Williams there, hey, smart play by him. You know, if you don't get caught, it's a charge.
Here's Peel. Williams step back. Misses the three. Crandall with his 6th rebound. He's closing in on a triple-double, by the way. 6 rebounds, 7 assists. He's already got the points with 12. Not loose by Fletcher. Gordon spinning. Foul is on the floor. It's going to be on Crandall.
There's a mismatch there, and taking full advantage of that. Justin Gordon with that quick spin baseline. But even on that occasion, there, you see the help defense. That's what a good defensive structure looks like. The baseline spin comes, but as you can see, your 6'11" centers there contesting the shots just to make that a little bit more difficult for Justin Gordon.
Anytime the Eagles penetrate, there's always a Leicester Rider body standing in front of the man in the rim.
Johnson got a bit stuck here. Shot clock getting low, trying to find some room. Gets the three away. Crandall fighting for the rebound, and he keeps it in play.
Wow, that's a point guard there, snagging it for one of the opposing post players.
Nice pass as Nelson Henry continues his perfection. 7 of 7 from the floor.
And you can see the contrast of both teams. Leicester Riders, 1 or 2 passes max, and they get something easy at the basket. Down here on this end for the Newcastle Eagles, it seems like it's pulling teeth just to get a shot attempt off.
Johnson trying to do it. He's out to Defoe late in the shot clock here. Needs to go up. Fletcher gets all the way to the finger roll. Not loose by Defoe, but kept alive by Crandall. Here's Crandall on the trail. Lobs it up to Nelson Henry, who taps it home.
Beautiful play there. Ball barely touches the floor again, and 8 for 8 for Nelson Henry, 17 points. Perfect from the field.
Well, that's 8 assists now for Crandall as well. He's 2 assists and 3 rebounds away from a triple-double.
But if the game gets out of hand, we know Rob, he cares less about a triple-double.
Yeah. So you better be quick. Foul is called on Ramon Fletcher. Well, the good news for Newcastle is that Nelson Henry is leaving the game, having got 17 and 5 in 19 minutes.
Bad
news is Walker's come in for it.
I thought you were just taking the positive slant on it and just ignoring the the fact that Mo Walker's now in the game.
Loving under all sorts of pressure. Oh, he almost banged that in as well.
He likes that shot. We've seen him make that numerous times. Shot clock winding down, and where he's having to create something out of nothing.
Just last week against Bristol.
Johnson shot off the glass. There's rebound number 8 for Crandall. Loving out down the floor. And I think they'll give Crandall an assist for that if Loving makes a free throw. So that could be assist number 9.
That's just a great pass, and Corey Johnson just at the disadvantage there, and I like that play just because he doesn't give him the open layup. And he's, you know, in today's basketball, the modern basketball, it's really difficult to do that and not have an intentional or unsportsmanlike.
So once you pick the ball up and you're going into the shot, it can't be an unsportsmanlike unless it's too hard.
Well, that's the thing.
The unsportsmanlike.
Give me a definition of what's too hard. I like to go to the gym. I like to pump weights as a basketball player. Like, tell me, what's it? Is it the disadvantage because I'm a stronger player? It's deemed too aggressive?
It's that kind of push down afterwards.
Ridiculous rule. Ridiculous.
Well, and don't look for me. Look to me for answers, because I don't know any of these rules, because they seem to always change.
That was an assist for Crandall now, so he's 1 assist and 2 rebounds away. 2 minutes to play in the third. Here's Peel. In the corner is Sayers, strings for 3.
That's a great shot by Louis Sayers. We all know, I think you pointed it out last year, Dan, he loves that left corner ball 3, which he consistently knocks down.
That is definitely his spot on this floor. Crandall trying to find some room, and I suppose the one block in the copy ball. That's his 6th turnover of the game. Foul call.
Justin Gordon just so athletic. He's there penetrating. The whistle wasn't blown there. He gets his teammate Brandon Peel a layup.
Foul number 3 on Patrick Loving. So Adekoya will come in for him. Patrick Loving, did I say? Oh, Loving, I meant.
Could have got away with that one.
Yeah, I was going to give you a break, mate. Peel. In and out, rebound by Patrick Williams.
There you go.
Still close in the copper box. It is still a Bristol lead. Just a basket between them. Good hands from Fletcher to steal that away from Walker, but it's turned right back over. Peel almost gets... Oh, my! What a way to get to double-figure assists for Gino Crandall.
Incredible. A little bit of pass the parcel there. Exchange of possessions, but finally lands in the hands of Gino Crandall. And, well, behind the back pass, why not?
So he has a double-double. He's 2 rebounds away from a triple-double.
Wow.
You don't see too many of those on TV.
And I like that shot from Peel. If you remember back to his London Lions days, that's where he ate, at the short corner and also at the elbows. And it seems like a lot in this Newcastle Eagles offense, he stuck up at the top of the key, shooting a lot of threes and reversing the ball.
I think it's been a little unfair to Brandon Peel. I think it's came into a situation where, you know, it's been a struggling Newcastle Eagles team. And oh, goodness.
Newcastle trying to race that down court. Oh, interesting. One of the clocks is still running. I'm not quite sure how that's possible. There we go. It's reset. That was weird. There's 4 or 5, 6 clocks in here, but one of them kept ticking and the others all stopped at 20.5 for some reason.
Well, it was like some of the players stopped playing too. I think they thought it was a shot clock violation.
Well, once you get the ball after the shot, even though the horn goes, you can carry on if it's the other team. Here's Johnson. Oh, he's missed the layup. Here's Crandall. Spinning past Fletcher. Foul will be on the floor. Basket won't count.
And I had a chance to catch up with Ramon Fletcher yesterday on the phone, and you could hear the frustration in his voice. The losing has gotten to him, and you know, he leads the league over the course of the season in minutes played, average minutes, sorry. And he's approaching 9,100 minutes in his BBL career. And he has a career high in minutes this year, so I just feel like the load has just gotten a little bit too much for Ramon Fletcher.
That will count for Mo Walker right on the third quarter buzzer as Leicester continue to dominate here at the Virtue Motors Arena. They have to win and hope that London don't if they are to claim the title. They are 10 minutes away from holding up their end of the bargain. Will it be enough to win the league? We'll find out after this break. Welcome back to the Virtue Motors Arena, where the Leicester Riders are doing their bit in order to win the league, but they need some help from Bristol, who last we heard were trailing, but Josh Rogers late in the third has put the Flyers back in front, 54-55 the score at the Copper Box Arena. We will keep our eyes on that one over the next 10 minutes of playing action. They are just slightly behind us as we get underway in the fourth quarter. Adekoya traveled with it, didn't he? Yeah, he just dragged that foot.
And the big question for me, fellas, is Gino Crandell done here in the fourth quarter?
Have you met Rob Paternostro? There's no way he's going to sit him out, I don't think.
They're only up 26.
Yeah, I mean, 2 rebounds. I mean, he can get that in, what, 45 seconds?
Here's Gordon top. Oh, gosh. I don't know if that sort of slipped out of his hands. It looked a bit awkward, and it fell a long way short.
Yeah, it looked like a slip. He had the legs, didn't he? He kind of propelled up through there. sometimes that perspiration just doesn't quite catch it right.
It's happened to the best of us.
Here's Jackson. Late in the shot clock here, Jackson needs to work quickly. He gets the shot away, it almost went in. Walker keeping it alive and turning it into 2.
That is an absolute problem. Absolute handful down there. That's your 6'10", 17, 18 stone big man just manhandling opponents and getting the ball for an easy putback.
12 minutes, 8.7 rebounds for Walker. He's efficient when he's out there. Here's Fletcher. And he knocks down a 2. 20 now for Ramon in the game.
And that's a good sign for the Eagles. They've got a stretch of games here, must-win games to make the playoffs, and they're going to need Ramon Fletcher to be firing on all cylinders.
Walker misses the mid-range shot. Here's Peel. Round to Fletcher. Driving to that trusty left hand, but denied by 2 Leicester players. Here comes McKenzie, dropping it back to Mo Walker for the jam.
It's great play from Kimball McKenzie. He does enough to get Luis Sayers to come all the way across to him, and Mo Walker with an easy jam.
And they say great defense leads to great offense. Great play by them on both sides of the ball for the Leicester Riders.
The other thing is reward the big man when he's running the floor. Peel shot off the mark.
I used to really like that rule, Dan. I wish you were my guard.
We should have played together longer. I would have fed you, big fella.
Yeah, I enjoy playing with you, Drew. You're fun to play with.
Here's McKenzie. He's off the mark. And Gordon with the rebound. Sayers misses. Well, Leicester could have had a 3-on-2 there, but Adekoya in no rush.
And that was all set up by McKenzie, telling the troops to slow it down. Let's get something good on this side and milk the clock a little bit.
Walker, good ball movement and the extra pass. Came all the way back round to McKenzie, but didn't get the reward it deserved.
That's the Riders are at that point now where even when they miss, it looks like beautiful offense. You know, great ball movement there.
Sayers just didn't quite go, but tipped in by Justin Gordon.
And what a ball game he's having as well. 17 points for him, 7 rebounds and 4 assists.
Nice pass. Walker underneath is fouled, and and 1 for him.
It looks like a man playing with boys, doesn't it? You know, just the size and strength. It's like a good pass here from Adekoya out of the double team there on the post, and it's like, I don't know.
It's like when you play with your son in the back garden, just smashing him out of the way.
Yeah, he's got to learn the hard way, you know.
Poor old Theo gets thrown about by big bad Antwerp.
Tough world out there. It's a tough world.
But for me, Brandon Pill has to commit to the double. He kind of half-heartedly went over there to double. You have to go over there 100%. And then you got to have the rotation behind you. Who's next man up? Something we haven't seen all night from the Newcastle Eagles.
Well, Rob Paternostro still looks a bit stressed on the sideline. Lead is only 29 with 6 minutes to go. I'm starting to feel you might be right about Gino, by the way.
What, you think they might bring him back in?
No, I think they might not.
Oh,
now,
yeah, it's a done deal. But speaking of Rob, you talked about his stress levels. He understands that the playoffs are slowly approaching, and there are 2-legged games, so every minute counts. So you're going to see him coaching all 40 minutes in this affair.
McKenzie calls for the screen. Actually goes away from it. tipped away. It'll be a Leicester ball on the end with 3 seconds to go on the shot clock.
Good penetration from Kimball McKenzie. Someone as well who's not going to stop playing until the final buzzer sounded.
Jackson has to heave here, gets it away, rims out. Johnson out to Defoe. Fletcher now. Defoe.
And again, another contested shot there by the Newcastle Eagles. The difference between both teams we see here tonight, the quality of looks.
Foul number 4 there on Darius Defoe. We are midway through the final quarter, and Coach Ian McLeod has called a timeout here with the Leicester Riders closing in. 2 results needed. They've got 1 going in their favour. They lead the Newcastle Eagles 62 points to 91. But London have regained the lead down at the Copper Box. They lead by 5.
Good. Let's go, London Lions. I'm sorry, the viewers know that I'm usually a neutral, but I don't want to see the Leicester Riders celebrate here in Newcastle. I'm sorry, Ant. I know you do.
I'm ready for the celebrations. And I think everyone in the Mercury Moments Arena, I think they've all come here to celebrate for something tonight, you know?
Well, the London Lions did actually win the league title here a few years ago. Rob Paternostre, will he get that pleasure? Well, if it doesn't happen tonight, London have to play Sheffield on Sunday. Leicester's next game is on Wednesday against Plymouth. And the Lions also play on Wednesday. I think it's Bristol again, if memory serves. Here's Fletcher. But it will be down to just 1 result that Leicester require.
And there's a lot of interesting fixtures coming up as Justin Gordon again came to play tonight. And we got to look on the flip side. With the loss here, we talked about the Leicester Riders potentially winning the league, but Newcastle falls tonight. Currently tied with the Glasgow Rocks, who the last time we looked were beating the Surrey Scorchers.
Well, they still are beating the Surrey Scorchers 80-61. So for the first time in 20 years, Newcastle about to drop out of the playoff places. Unless something strange happens in the last 4 minutes here or 7 minutes in Glasgow.
And what's concerning for me, guys, is not dropping out of the playoffs. It's dropping out of the playoffs in a 10-team league.
Yeah. Mo Walker, the 3 off the mark. Here's Williams. It's going to be a foul on Jackson. His 3rd. Fletcher driving in. He's fouled, but he will go to the line for 2 as he couldn't get it through and in.
Well, he's someone who's looking to make things happen still. Again, it's key for him to have that aggressive mentality. They're going to need so much from him. And I think with the absence of Person Jr., you know, you've got to have those other guys step up. Carl Williams, Lewis Sayers, you know, they don't have to go outside their games and do anything that's not them, but they do have to take on more responsibility, especially for the offensive end. Especially if this is a Newcastle Eagles team that are not going to fully or wholeheartedly commit on the defensive end. The only way really they're going to win games is if they outscore the opponent, and that is a talent they do have. I think when you look at their 6, 7 that they've got, very talented guys, very good scorers, but at the moment they're not all firing in sync with each other.
Jackson drops it in.
He has a really good knack of weaving in and out of defenders, doesn't he, and getting into that danger zones on the defense.
Defoe, good pass to Williams underneath.
Defoe's looked good from that high post spot there. He's been able to see his teammates. This time it's Kyle Williams for the easy 2.
Washington strings the 3.
That is nothing but the bottom of the net too. He barely catches it before he lets it go. Big shot.
He's into double figures as Leicester almost force a turnover, and they do force a turnover. Crandall 12, McKenzie 10, Walker 13, Whelan 14, Washington 10, Jackson 10, Nelson Henry 17.
Wow. Well, they've been the best team this year as well for that very reason. How do you stop a team with so many different avenues to produce offense? When you look in contrast to the Newcastle Eagles, Gordon with 19, Fletcher with 21. There's no one else in double digits.
Well, Leicester have 7 players in double figures. Newcastle don't have 70 points. You can do the maths. Evan Walsh into the game, commits the foul.
Evan Walsh, of course, British basketball fans will know him from his time at Surrey Scorchers. Spent some time overseas, played a European basketball, and he's since returned back to the BBL and found himself on a very good Leicester Riders roster.
Newcastle with a bit of full court pressure to slow the Riders down. That's about all it is. It looks like it's not going to be today. London starting to get away down in the copper box, up by 9. So Leicester might be made to wait for at least another couple of days. But the inevitable will happen at some point. They will be one result short as it stands. Adekoya knocks down the corner 3.
Jabril Adekoya right in front of the Newcastle Eagles bench. Again, you can just see the penetration and kick, simple play there, and results in another execution for the Riders.
Well, the 2 league meetings down at the Morningside Arena. Leicester had 100, Newcastle were in the 70s. It's more of the same again here. Oh, that's beautiful.
It really is. Selfless basketball. Doesn't need to over dribble, touch the floor. Just great passing.
Johnson is fouled.
Good take from Corey Johnson, and credit to him as well for continuing to play on. I mean, Corey Johnson took a nasty collision there with Nelson Henry's knee and then the floor, but he's battled through it and continued to be aggressive.
Well, just the pause while Newcastle making a substitution. Defoe coming out of the game. I think Johnson will if he makes the second of these 2 free throws. It's a double-figure lead now for London in the copper box. Johnson will get the rest of the night off, will he? No, it's Fletcher who's coming out of the game. 21 points for Ramon Fletcher. He had to take 22 shots in the game. Far and away the biggest volume shooter on his team in the ball game. Gino did fall 2 rebounds short of a triple-double in the end. He's been close a couple of times. Here's McKenzie. Out to Washington. Back iron. We're into the final minute. Stolen away by Walsh. Walsh now attacks onto McKenzie in the corner for 3. Walsh trying to get the rebound. He does deflect it out to Adekoya. Poked away by Gordon, and he will jam it in to give the fans something to cheer here. 24.3 on the game clock. Leicester can run this down. They will take one step closer to the title, but it doesn't look like the title will be won tonight. The shot clock operator did a good job there, just turned it off. We don't need to worry about that .3. The Leicester Riders have done the business here in Newcastle. They've beaten the Eagles 77 points to 103, and they are close, very close to the league title. But it probably won't be today.
Well, control the controllables, and that's certainly what Rob Paternoster and his Leicester Riders team have done this evening. Another convincing performance on both ends of the floor. Not only have they scored 103 points, they put in a good second half defensive effort.
Well, the champagne is on ice, but it will have to hold for another day, you feel, with a couple of minutes still to go in London. They do have a sizable advantage, and it will require a little bit more. You can have a look here. You can see Dirk Williams getting to the basket, stretching the lead. Oh, sorry, that was Reese, my mistake. Stretching the lead out to 11 with less than 2 minutes to go. And the stop as well. It looks like London are going to do the business down there, Aaron.
It does indeed, and it's been a close game the whole game. We've been watching back and forth, and it wasn't until this fourth quarter where the London Lions were able to open this game up. They're currently winning the fourth quarter 20-9. So really strong finish from this London Lions team.
It's a tough shot, a little bit short, but we'll just keep an eye on that score for you, but it doesn't look like the title is going to be won tonight by the Leicester Riders. Let's take a look at the numbers. Look at the 2-point field goal shootings, and 73% from the floor, 36 made baskets from 2-point range, and 8 of 19 from 3 is not shabby either.
When you see these rare figures, because 73% is very, very rare, it's a combination of good offense and bad defense. That's the only combination you can have those remarkable numbers. And the Leicester Riders, to their credit, they shared the basketball. It was a very selfless performance from them. 31 assists as a team, so they were getting high efficient shots around the rim, and the Newcastle Eagles defense just could not compete.
Well, let's get some reaction. Just shy of a triple-double, but 12 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds for Gino Crandall. He's with Trey.
Gino, you describe your style of play as exciting, energetic, and with effort. How did the team tick all those boxes tonight?
Yeah, I think Coach Rob really stressed the importance of this game, of coming up, playing in front of this crowd, playing against the Eagles, who, historically have been a rival of the Riders, so we knew they were going to be up for it. And I think we did a good job of, again, encapsulating some of those things you said. We just played with a lot of energy, a lot of effort on both ends of the floor, and I think we were able to come out with a result that we wanted because of that.
And as Dan said, nearly a triple-double all around the game for you, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. It looks like you're in third gear this year. How has the game slowed down in year 2?
Yeah, I think just, with experience, you kind of get more comfortable with anything, and I got a team behind me that believes in me a lot, so that's a big help, but also is capable of doing a lot themselves. So, in a sense, there's kind of a weight taken off my shoulders, where I can lean on them for a lot of things, whether I'm doing well or, whether I'm doing bad. They got my back through everything, and that helps. And then, again, just the effort. I wish I would have known I only had 8 rebounds. Would have went and got a couple more. Mark and Zach told me I was hogging on the boards, and so I let them get a couple, and, they might owe me a couple of drinks for not getting the 10.
Well, we knew Rob wasn't going to let you back in to get it, but the magic number becomes 1 after today's win. And you mentioned about the team. What's the difference between this year's team and last year, who also won the league?
Yeah, you know, I think we're just kind of playing a different style, maybe. We've got different guys. I think it's not entirely different. We didn't completely overhaul what we were doing. I think we made some tweaks. We saw what worked well last year within our systems, saw what didn't, went and got guys to fit what we wanted to do and where we wanted to grow. And everybody's bought in to that ideology. And, you know, credit to Rob and Pablo and Russell for putting the roster together, and credit to all the guys for coming in and believing in it and trusting in it and, you know, working our tails off every day.
And finally, Gino, the playoffs are approaching fast. Name a team in the BBL that can beat the Leicester Riders.
Probably just ourselves. I mean, anybody can beat anybody. I don't want to say it that way, but when we bring our game, I think we're just kind of head and shoulders above everybody else.
Great performance, great team win. Thanks for your time, Gino.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Almost a triple-double for Gino Crandall. 12 points, 8 boards, 10 assists. Not bad for somebody in third gear, Kieran Ajara.
Definitely not. And that's what I'm saying. That level of composure, being able to know when to turn it up as well. And the thing I was alluding to earlier on, 26 minutes he's playing. You know, he's not playing big minutes like a Ramon Fletcher. He's very relaxed. He knows exactly what his role is, and he's just finding a way to produce.
This is in stark contrast, as the fellas were talking about on comms, to the Eagles and the amount of minutes that Ramon Fletcher is putting in. And we saw the strength in depth being one of the fundamental keys to this game for the Riders.
Yeah, and that's it. They're leading by example out there. You know, you've got Kimball McKenzie coming off the bench. You've got Connor Washington coming off the bench. All can, you know, hold the fort on their own, can lead teams in their own. So they've got a great balance of, you know, depth at all positions, and that's what's making them so dangerous this season.
And their head coach Rob Paternoster knows how to interchange them and mix it up. Another virtuoso performance from the Riders this evening. And Rob is courtside now with Drew.
Coach, you said on the BBL show what makes Gino great is his intelligence and competitiveness. After tonight's performance, elaborate on that statement.
Oh, yeah. You know, he's 2 steps ahead of everyone on the court with his mind. Obviously athletic like crazy. And, you know, the ability to just find people is unbelievable. You know, those passes to Darian were incredible. And, yeah, he's a dynamic player on both ends of the floor.
And no individual player ranks in the top 12 in scoring, but you're number 1 as a team in that category. Talk about this team's balance offensively.
7 guys in double figures, and Jabril had 9 tonight. You know, these guys just want to win. They don't care about minutes. They don't care about shots. They just play basketball. It's such a fun group to be around. You know, you've been in this game a long time, and when you get a group like this, you really appreciate it.
And speaking of Jabril, your bench was huge tonight with the likes of McKenzie, Walker, and Washington. How important have they been this season?
They've been great. I think our bench is ready to go. All of them could start, but they sacrificed the minutes for the good of the team, and that's you know, great to see. I thought McKenzie was excellent early. He's been excellent for a while now. Good leader in the locker room as well. But yeah, that bench, we feel confident with them when they come in.
And finally, with London's loss tonight, the magic number becomes 1. What would another league title mean to this Leicester Riders franchise?
Well, London won tonight, but listen, we got 1 to go. Obviously, this is what we play for. You know, winning the league is really tough. It's difficult. Anybody that's done it knows that. You got to be consistent for long periods, and this team has been, but we still got work to do.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Tonight.
Yeah, almost there. Work to do, but they've put most of the heavy lifting in already. And, of course, this is exactly where he'd want to be if you'd asked him at the start of the season, with the destiny in their own hands, Kieran.
Oh, very much so. We've said it for 3 weeks now. Leicester, it's inevitable they're going to win the league. But now they get the great position of actually thinking about load management, resting the players, kind of experimenting in ways that other teams can't do right now because they're still fighting for that playoff spots.
How will they approach the final few weeks of the season? Obviously, they've got to take care of business and win. If they win, it's a formality. Of course, if London lose against Sheffield on Sunday, they're the champions, Leicester, as a result. So how will Rob approach the last couple of weeks with the playoffs in mind?
Well, historically, you know, being around Rob's teams, he tends to rest a lot of his main players, get some of the younger players coming through, maybe even some of the academy players. You know, from a Glasgow Rocks perspective, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's done and dusted, so when they go to places like Glasgow, they can really rest up their players. So he won't he won't care much about what's going to happen happen at the end of the season. It's just making sure that they're resting their players, they're getting the right mindset at practice and building for those playoffs.
Well, the Riders, of course, know that they are going to be in the playoffs, but there are plenty of teams that are scrapping for a playoff spot. Newcastle, well, they're firmly in that category, but still have it all to play for. Let's hear from their head coach, Ian McLeod. He's with Drew.
Coach, another tough loss. Was this game more about what lacked from the Newcastle Eagles or about the greatness of the Leicester Riders?
I'm not taking anything away from Leicester, but I think there's a lot where we gave them great opportunities. 37 fast break points. Now, actually, you can look at defense, and we've conceded 103, but when it's 37 fast break points, that comes from, a rushed shot offensively, outside of the offense taking the shot, a shot that you're not expecting within your offense, leading to those fast break points. And that type of stuff, there was giveaways there for sure. But they're a great team, and they played well as well. And their depth, again, we struggled with that too.
And in your tenure, you had a lot of success early. How have you handled the adversity of this season?
I mean, we figured with 1920 and 2021, no crowds and everything else that brought in that time, we figured that would be kind of things were over then. But this year, it's been very tough. All you can do really is manage your players, support your players as best you can, and try to keep them fighting. There's a few opportunities today when we did disengage a little and we're fighting to get that back. And it's about keeping them together. And it's difficult when you see the scoreboard like that and you're out of a game, but we have to keep fighting and looking for the next game.
And the Eagles fall to 9th after the Glasgow Rocks win. What's most urgent if the Newcastle Eagles are going to make that 8th and final playoff spot?
The next game. Just everything at Cheshire now, that's it. And it was the same with this one. The same with the London game a couple of games before. We cannot look ahead and think 2-3 games time we're playing those teams that are fighting around us. We absolutely have to just focus on the next win, the next game, which is a bit of a cliche, of course, but a dangerous thing could be looking too far ahead, and then suddenly 3-4 games down the line you make that game bigger than it has to be mentally.
Coach, thanks for your time. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
What do you think of Coach McLeod concentrating on the offensive shortcomings when they've let the Riders put up over 100 points again?
Yeah, I get exactly what you've saying. They did rush a lot of shots, gave up a lot of fast break, but I'm looking at their double teaming. The rest of the players not on the same page. They're giving up a pump fake, simple drive to the basket, no help defense. There is a lot of mistakes in their defensive end right now, and they have, for me, effort is one part of it, but they just look so disjointed.
And it was frustrating, I guess, to see that second half performance after the second quarter that they put in. 31 points against the #1 defense in the BBL is no mean feat. And Fletcher, their talisman, who had a sluggish start to this game but really started to heat up good.
Yeah, he was extremely aggressive tonight, from three-point land and attacking the basket. But it's the minutes, it just seems like, I'd say that halfway through the season, he looked like he'd been dropping his head. He feels frustrated. And all of a sudden, there was a little bounce part of the season that he looked like he was having fun again. But right now, it just seems like a tough toll on Ramon Fletcher.
Similar stat line for Justin Gordon to Fletch, 21 points, 7 boards. We said at the top of the show, he's obviously a supremely talented player, and we're seeing that in flashes, but maybe not as consistently at the highest level as we'd hope. What did you make of his performance tonight?
I love the way Gordon plays. I said last season he was one of my favourite players to watch playing basketball. He does a really, really good job attacking the basket, gets on the offensive glass, gets big rebounds, makes big plays, but it's just not enough at this moment in time. Again, when I say impact points, they're not in the game. You know what I mean? They're so far out of the game at this moment. Those impact plays, they don't have any impact.
And defensively, of course, he's such a key part of this Eagles side, such a physical player. But the Eagles defense had no answer for the Riders offense today. A lot of people filling their boots in terms of getting points, including Darian Nelson-Henry, the skipper, who has been clinical all season long and once again living up to that billing, shooting 100% tonight, Kieran.
So impressive. And the thing for me is he catches the ball, usually on the pick and roll, a little dump off, then he just takes his time, gathers his balance, and then a nice little hook shot. He's got a really nice touch around the basket, but the composure for a big man, take his time, not getting rushed, to get to his shot, it's really, really impressive.
Composure is a word we keep hearing applied to so many of these Riders players. Gino, I think we had it at least 6 or 7 times today. Darren Nelson-Henry as well, and you could easily and conceivably apply it to Patrick Whelan as well, who at the top of the show we said has had an absolutely standout season. In fact, Drew Lasker, who has joined us now, suggests that he is a sneaky candidate for MVP. Well, he obviously was listening to your pre-game, Drew, because he lived up to that billing tonight.
Yeah, Patrick Whelan is just an all-around player. What makes him deadly is he's shooting a high percentage from the 3, but then also he can get to the basket. Like I mentioned on Combs, the only thing, if I could be critical, he just got to work on his vertical hops a little bit. But other than that, man, this guy's really exciting to watch.
Drew, take on this Eagles performance. Elements to be positive about, of course, but overall they're going to be deeply disappointed with the performance that was put in over 4 quarters. After that second quarter, they looked like they could get right back into this.
I mean, look, they played the Leicester Riders 3 times. The Leicester Riders have scored in the hundreds. The Eagles have scored in the 70s. So it's no fluke, no coincidence. As much as it hurts me, the Leicester Riders are just better. And so, you know, I talked it on pregame. It's not about the statistics. It's not about those pretty graphics we put up. It's about the Newcastle Eagles putting their foot in the sand and saying, not tonight. But it wasn't tonight.
It was all going the Leicester Riders' way, including the play of the day. And Gino Crandall, once again, our MVP, and once again, Kieran, winner of the play of the game.
Yeah, again, composure we talk about, that pass, I'm going to have to say it again. It was disgusting. No, he just, look at this, takes his time, wide open, give me 2 points. As a big, you just love playing with it. You know, he'd already seen the pass before he'd received the ball. And then bang. But the question we have to ask right now, you know, we got put in the spotlight. Are the Newcastle Eagles, Drew, making the playoffs?
Well, I thought Nat was hosting this show, man. What's up with that?
I'm happy to defer to Kieran on that one.
Okay, since you asked me, and I'm going to be quite honest, and I might need security when I walk up out of here. The Newcastle Eagles sadly will not be making the playoffs. The schedule is too difficult for them coming up. I talked about the Easter schedule. They're away 3 games in 4 days. And I didn't see anything tonight that convinced me otherwise.
Wow, that is inconceivable, isn't it?
It's inconceivable that we are absolute sellouts, both of us. No, my team's not going to make it. No, your team.
No, it's not. You'll end up both making it. There'll be a way that could happen as well.
Ask me tomorrow.
Of course. All right, time for sounds of the game. We mic'd up Chris Dodds and Jabril Adekoya. Let's hear how the game played out from their perspective.
Well, if you just drop it, yeah, that was, honestly, that's a perfect match ball. 3, 2, 1. Right! You see it? On the arm, 1 shot.
If the reverse is in play, go flare. Try not to go through me. Okay. Flare right in. Okay. You know?
Travel first. Yeah, he's got to travel first, yeah.
Just stay coming up. Look shorty coming up.
Hey, don't forget the net.
Right, let's take a look and remind ourselves of tonight's results across the BBL, because there is so much to play for in terms of the playoff mix. The Sharks are pretty safe, and they've cemented that position with a 70-61 win over Plymouth. Speaking of cementing positions, Glasgow, look at that, Kieran. Ton up against...
I told you.
Never in doubt, was it? Never in doubt. We'll see what this means with the table in... well, right now we can take a look at that, the table and the impact there. So the Riders inching ever closer to that title retention. London keeping it alive for at least one more round, but they are hanging on, and surely it is a formality now for Leicester. But the key, of course, is at the bottom of that table, and really from Glasgow, who are in 6th spot now, jumping in to the playoff spots down. Plymouth, Bristol and Newcastle are all scrapping for those playoff spots, and they could all fall out of contention. The fixtures look a little bit like this. London, well, if they don't beat Sheffield on Sunday, then the title is Leicester's. If they do, they will continue, and it will go to Wednesday night, where the Riders just need to win to lock it in. If they don't beat Plymouth on Wednesday night and the Lions beat the Sharks, then it will go to that Friday night game, the Riders hosting the Manchester Giants. Of course, London in action against Bristol as well. And again, if they lose, they are done. So it's fascinating, isn't it, that outside of self-interest of the Eagles and the Rocks, the Flyers, Plymouth, they're very much in the mix as well. They're looking over their shoulder too, Drew.
Yeah, there is a lot to play for. Every game, there's a lot on the line. But here's an interesting fact for you guys. You saw that graphic. The Newcastle Eagles' last 2 games, home here to the Glasgow Rocks and away to the Plymouth City Patriots. That could get very interesting.
Are you agreeing with Drew that what you're seeing from Newcastle, because Drew makes a great point, this is Leicester, this is a team that's dominated most other teams in the BBL this season, so how much can we take from tonight's performance when we're trying to weigh up, are they going to make the playoffs?
I'm so conflicted on this right now because I know what Newcastle are capable of historically, what they can bring to the table, but at the same time, they're just not finding a way to produce at this moment in time. So, I'm kind of backing Drew, and I'm hoping I'm backing Drew at this moment in time.
It is going to the wire, that is for sure, and we will be all across it right here on Sky Sports. Join us for more action next Friday night. We could be back here. We could be in Leicester for the game against Manchester. It depends how the results play out over the coming days. Either way, it is going to be a compelling game for you once again. On air from 7 o'clock, Drew and Kieran will be right alongside me. Hope you've enjoyed tonight. We'll see you next Friday. Bye for now.